Gaul, a land of vast forests, rolling hills and mighty rivers. It was a land divided into tribes, each with its own king and customs, yet all were united by a fierce love of freedom. But a shadow had fallen upon Gaul. The Roman Empire, with its legions of disciplined soldiers and its hunger for conquest, had come knocking at their door. Julius Caesar, a brilliant general with ambition as boundless as the empire he served, led the Roman advance. The Romans called it pacification. The Gauls called it what it was, oppression. They were forced to pay heavy taxes, surrender their land, and live under the rule of a foreign power. Resentment simmered in the hearts of the Gauls. They yearned for a leader who could unite them against their common enemy. They wouldn't have to wait long. From the forested lands of the Eburones, a chieftain named Ambiorix rose to challenge the Roman invaders. He was a cunning warrior known for his skill in guerrilla warfare. Ambiorix ignited the flames of rebellion. He led his people in a series of daring raids against the Roman legions, proving that they were not invincible. Further south, in the heart of Gaul, another leader emerged, Vercingetorix, a chieftain of the Arverni tribe. Vercingetorix was a charismatic and inspiring figure. He possessed a keen mind for strategy and a deep understanding of Roman tactics. Vercingetorix's name echoed through the lands, a beacon of hope for the oppressed Gauls. Caesar, however, would not be easily deterred. He had staked his reputation on the conquest of Gaul, and he was determined to crush this rebellion before it could spread. He assembled his legions, seasoned veterans of countless campaigns, and marched them deeper into Gaul. Caesar's strategy was simple but effective. Divide and conquer. He would exploit the rivalries between the Gallic tribes, turning them against each other to weaken their resistance. The legions were a fearsome sight. They marched with precision, their standards held high, a symbol of Roman might. The very ground seemed to tremble beneath their feet. The Gauls knew that they were facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. Yet the Gauls were not about to surrender their freedom without a fight. They knew their lands better than any Roman. They used this to their advantage, waging a war of attrition against the invaders. From the dense forests and rugged hills, they launched a series of surprise attacks. These ambushes, swift and deadly, took a heavy toll on the Roman legions. The Gauls, masters of guerrilla warfare, would appear out of nowhere, unleashing a volley of javelins and arrows, then vanish as quickly as they had come. They harassed the Roman supply lines, picked off isolated patrols, and disappeared into the dense foliage before the Romans could react. Caesar, however, was a master strategist. He knew he couldn't defeat the Gauls in open battle. He needed to draw them out, to force them into a confrontation on his terms. Section 5. The Siege of Gergovia, a fortress against an empire. Gergovia, a formidable hilltop fortress, home to the Arverni tribe, and a symbol of Gallic resistance. Caesar, believing that capturing Gergovia would be a decisive blow against Vercingetorix, decided to lay siege to the city. The Romans, confident in their superior numbers and equipment, built siege towers and dug trenches around the city. Vercingetorix, anticipating Caesar's move, had fortified the city and rallied his warriors. He knew that Gergovia, with its natural defenses and the courage of its defenders, could withstand any assault. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of Gaul. Section 6. Deception and defeat. Caesar's costly miscalculation. Caesar, a master of deception, devised a cunning plan. He ordered a feint attack on one side of the city, drawing Vercingetorix's forces away from the main gate. With the Gallic defenses weakened, Caesar planned to launch a surprise assault and take the city, but Vercingetorix, wise to Caesar's tactics, had anticipated the Romans' move. He had secretly positioned a reserve force behind the city walls. When the Romans, believing victory was at hand, stormed through the weakened gate, they walked straight into a trap. Section 7. Gallic fury driving the Romans back. The Gauls, with the fury of a cornered wolf, unleashed their wrath upon the Roman legions. They fought with a ferocity that surprised even the battle-hardened Romans. The air was thick with the clash of steel, the cries of the wounded, and the war cries of the Gauls. Roman soldiers, caught off guard, fell by the score. Panic rippled through their ranks as they realized the depth of their miscalculation. Caesar, realizing his plan had failed, ordered a retreat. The once mighty legions, now disorganized and demoralized, were forced to flee from the very city they had hoped to conquer. Section 8: Aftermath and Legacy, a turning point in the war. The Battle of Gergovia was a humiliating defeat for Caesar and a resounding victory for Vercingetorix. It proved that the Roman legions were not invincible. It ignited a firestorm of hope in the hearts of the Gauls. The victory at Gergovia rallied the Gallic tribes who, inspired by Vercingetorix's leadership, flocked to his banner. For Caesar, it was a stark reminder that the conquest of Gaul was far from over. He had underestimated the Gauls and their will to fight for their freedom. He knew he would have to regroup, rethink his strategies, and prepare for a final decisive battle. Section 9: The Road to Alesia, the final showdown awaits. The Battle of Gergovia was a turning point in the Gallic Wars. It showed that Caesar, for all his brilliance, was not unbeatable. It emboldened the Gallic tribes, uniting them under Vercingetorix's leadership. The stage was set for a final confrontation, a battle that would decide the fate of Gaul. And so the Roman legions marched on, licking their wounds, their pride wounded, their eyes set on vengeance. Their destination, Alesia. The final showdown between Caesar and Vercingetorix, between Roman might and Gallic freedom, awaited.